Hello and welcome to another one of my videos. In this video, as you can see, I have my Honda CX500 engine in the shed. I know it's finally got up here at last, but now it's up here I can start progressing the project even further. As you all know from the second video in this series, I managed to get this engine started after 30 years of it being dormant, and to be honest, other than the carburetors being slightly off because they were dirty, the engine ran spot on. There was no rattles, no noises that shouldn't have been there, so that kind of put my mind at rest that the engine was pretty much alright. However, when I started taking the engine apart, I thought I would wash out the cooling system, so I kind of put a hose pipe through these two inlets here to basically wash out any of the gunk within the system. The right one, as in the right cylinder head, once I put the water through the jacket, it came straight out the rad tube. However, the left one just filled out and overflowed, which started ringing alarm bells. So as soon as I got it up here today, I thought I'm going to take this cover off this water pump and see what's lurking inside. And as you can see, this is what was lurking. A lovely, waxy, just mess of gunk. Basically, this is a mixture of antifreeze that has basically split away from the water and turned into a waxy kind of paraffin-y mass of just horribleness. And yeah, other than that though, like I say, there's quite a lot there. That's what was blocking the passageway. It was all the way up here, so there was no water getting past it. But other than that, it's just a matter of cleaning everything up. It's quite alright in there. This is the impeller. As we can see, this is just as gunked up, but like I say, more than kind of recoverable. That's the Polo Mint, which is used in the mechanical seal, which a lot of bikes use to keep the water from going into the engine casing. But as we can see here, this is the mechanical seal, which is basically just a little rubber boot that's sprung. Now, this is the next kind of thing I'm fighting with. Do I keep this in, or do I take it out? Because I've bought one off eBay, a new mechanical seal. Now, I've got a sneaky suspicion this won't actually fit into the orifice in that casing, because Honda, in their infinite wisdom, decided they would change the orifice in this casing. I think it was in 81. So sometimes these will fit, sometimes they won't. However, I can do a method called the Sheps method, I think, which is on the Honda 500 forums, where you basically take the innards out of this mechanical seal and replace them with these innards. So basically you keep the metal part of the seal in the actual casing, and you just replace the main sealing part, and then you also replace the little Polo Mint there, which is what it's called in the CX500 circles, which is then put into there. And also we've got a little copper washer which I've just kept on the shaft there along with the dome nut so I don't lose it. But other than that, I'm going to just leave it the way it is. I'm going to clean the engine up a bit, I'm going to polish the heads, do a few other things, but I'm more than happy with that. And why try and fix something when it doesn't need fixing? That's no doubt. I would take the rear of the case off and I might actually break something in the process and I'll be waiting a lot longer, so I'm just going to basically go off my gut instinct of when I heard it before and say the engine is more than fine. So yeah. Moving on from the engine though, if I just turn to my right, I have mounted my piggyback shocks, or remote reservoir shocks as some people call them, and they look quite good. I had to put the spacer on the bottom because they were a tad bit short if they didn't. They were a tad bit longer with them on, but to be honest, it doesn't really make that much difference. It was only something like 4mm longer, so I'm not going to really notice that, to be honest. But they look quite nice. The wheel is going to go back on once I've polished the back drum up. I've got some pads all over the place. I've got those two, and there's some more somewhere else, and some compound which I'm going to tackle the job with and make that all nice and mirror shiny. It's going to be one of the few parts on the bike that's actually going to be like aluminium polished. The two heads are going to be polished, but it's one of the few things on the bike that actually are, just to kind of split it up a bit. Moving on, as you can see, I've got some of the wiring kind of in just to see where everything's going. The CAF Racer kit's quite good because it puts most of the mounting points for the big parts, such as the CDI unit, the regulator and the starter solenoid. So basically all that's just bolt in. However, because I'm putting some other things on this bike, such as an electric fan, which I've got here, which I'm going to be doing in the next few weeks hopefully, And also I'm changing the original fuse box, which was on the triple trees of the original Honda, with a 4-blade fuse style one, which will basically replace the 2 fuses that were in the head. It's going to have a fuse for the fan, and then I've also got a spare one there, which I think I'll feed that one through. So 4 fuses there, so I'm just trying to find somewhere to place that, which is another thing. And then we come to Spaghetti Junction, which is this mess of cables here. Now obviously most of the connections were actually housed in the front light cowl. However, because I'm going with a standard headlight, there's not the same amount of room in there to put all the cables. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten the cables back to here, and I'm going to put most of the connections around this part of the bike here, because the tank will just say miss them if I put them there. And I might put a couple back in the headlight, such as maybe the 2 hand control units maybe put back in the headlight. So that's going to be another big job, which I'm not dreading, but it's going to be the more tedious of the tasks, I think. And also trying to wire up the fan. I've got a kind of circuit in mind. I've been going on the net and finding some diagrams that people have done for their bikes, and I've kind of bought all the parts for it. It's in that green box there, so it should just be a matter of following the diagrams that I've made and some other people have made and try and make them work. We then moved to the front of the bike, which was another problem. If you remember from the video where I installed the bearing races, I could only actually fit one of the locking nuts onto the stem, which, to be honest, didn't bother me too much, because obviously I've got a nut on top of here which acts as kind of a locking nut, and then the yoke. Now, it was, like I say, it was bugging me, and I'm sitting there going, there must be a method or some way of locking this locking nut in place mechanically other than Loctite. And I kind of remembered these from my work. These hold bearings in the tab washers, so basically these go on the shaft and they hold the outer race of the bearing against whichever part it's meant to be held against. However, I thought, right, if I get a 30mm one of these, because they've got an inner tab here, and we've also got a little cutout on the stem there, which is where the original washer would go in between the 2 locking nuts, but that washer was just literally a plain washer with a tab on the inside. So I thought, if I get one with an inner tab, we'll just see if it fit. And it did. It fit just as you couldn't get any nicer of a fit than that. And I thought, great, it fits. And then if we go around, we'll be able to bend at least one of these tags into one of the actual grooves in the locking nut. So it just, that's my mechanical locking method now done. Obviously I'll Loctite it a bit just to be doubly sure. But yeah, so it was just something that came to mind, and then I just got them off eBay for £1 or £2, I think. I've got 2 anyway. And that kind of just locks that up, makes it safe. And even if it doesn't kind of add to the safety, as in it would have been safe without it, it puts my mind at rest that it's going to be fine. So yeah, so that's where I'm up to at the moment. There's going to be a few videos over the next few weeks, because my aim for this project is to get the bike up and running in 6 to 8 weeks. I'm aiming for April to be out and getting MOT'd. So yes, I've got quite a lot of work to do, but I think it's achievable if I spend most of my time in here. My lass is going to love it. She's going to have the whole house to herself. I might as well just get a bed in here. But yeah, so over the next few weeks I'm going to be putting up loads of videos. It's going to be hectic, but hopefully at the end of it we'll have a very unique and very nice looking Honda CX calf racer. And when I unveil it, I will then say what the theme is, because like I always say, there is a theme to this bike, and it is a really kind of deep theme for the area. It's kind of within a lot of people's blood around here. So yeah, as always, I shall end it there before I bore you and put you all to sleep, because I'm getting to 10 minutes. Like I say, keep safe, and I shall see you soon.